Shiva Beis Yosef Nevardik, Sechusmi to be here. Without further ado, please.
Just the Olam, there's a halacha, two Gemaras actually, that say that Nishalom ala hekim, v'loy ala hefer. That means, if there's a halacha when someone makes a neder, you could go be matir neder. You go to a chacham, and he's matir a neder. So the Gemara says, Hu adin, there's such a thing as being same way you matir neder. Hu adin, you could be matir to hakama. You go and you go to and say, if I would have known this and that, I wouldn't have done it. So the Gemara is saying that there's a idea of atar sedarim even on hekem. But the Gemara says, "Ve'ein nishalin al hefer." You could be matir neder on hekem, and you can't be matir neder on hefer. Now, how do we find that the din of matir neder is not dafka by neder? You have it by kachim, you have it by other places also, but that's also midin neder, those things. It's like the so what's the pshat on it? So the Ran says like this. The Ran says Zokter is bleibs ke'ein nidra. He says ke'ein nidra. That's how he explains it. He says that it bleibs ke'ein nidra, that hakama bleibs ke'ein the neder. The question is what does that mean? That hakama is ke'ein the neder. What's I mean, it's a lot of after that you can't be mefer anymore. But what does it mean that it bleibs ke'ein nidra? What does that mean? It's ke'ein nidra. So, the pashtus is that okay. So the more pashtus you have to say the pshat is that when you make a comma, it's chal. It's chal in the ikar neder. It's mechazik the ikar neder. That's what it is. That's a neder gets stronger. That's what hakama is. If that's a neder gets stronger, so it's taka part of a neder. It's not like it's a chalas that's not part of the neder. It's actually part of the neder. It goes into the actual neder itself. It's mechazik the neder itself. So if it's mechazik the neder itself, of course that's called ke'ein nidra. Anything that's in the chalas neder, you could be matir. So so that's why it would that's why you would be able to be matir neder. Mashek in hafara is zichanat. If anything it breaks the neder, hafara is zichanat in the neder. So there's no way you could dan that in hafara it goes into the neder. If anything it's going connected the neder. But by hafara there's no way to dan such a thing. So it comes out like the Ranak upon him, the husband, the Gemara, of why you shoyl on hakama and you're not shoyl on hafara is because hakama is ke'ein nidra, which means that hakama is chal actually in the actual neder itself, and hafara is not chal in the actual neder itself. If anything, it's v'snagit to the neder. So if it's v'snagit to the neder, so then you then that's what it is. So it's not shaykh to neder. So mela you can't be mefer. What? Is there's not Rabbi Kveyes the Gemara that says Nishalom al hekim, so it's a Gemara before and it's a Gemara in the Ayin Tes. So the Ran says Shem hekim yachal lishalav b'oisayoyim shmiya v'yachal lahafer b'oy bayoyim. If you could be mefer b'oy bayoyim, because if it goes past that, then there's a problem of Yom Shammai. The halach is you only can make a neder only on Yom Shammai. So that's why this question of being shayil ala hekem is only megeya if you're going to do it within that day. That's what's the din of shalom ala hekem. The Ran speaks out that when he explains what the din of shtika b'yom Shammai is, he says that he says the Gemara says the halacha that a kama believe helps, and a far believe doesn't help. That's what the Gemara says. A kama believe helps, and a far believe doesn't help. So the Ran says what's the pshat in the Gemara? The Ran says that you see from Shtika B'Yom Shammai that Umdana helps by neder, because what's his raya? His raya is because from the fact that he didn't make a afara, so kumta is that it's a raya that he wants the neder. So he's only every Shtika B'Yom Shammai is not stam. You have a limit till only the first 24 hours. The pshat in Yom Shammai is that it's a raya from the fact that you stood a whole day and you were in Mefer. That's a raya that if you make hakama believe, it's going to work. That's a raya, it's going to work. So, and then Rabbi Keg says maybe it's just after the 10 minutes it should be called it's a raya. So he says no, it goes by the day. That's what he says. A regular person does things whatever he has to do that day. So if that day he goes through it and he doesn't make hafara, so that's why it's hakama. So Mela Zakter, from here you see that afar believe helps. So Rabbi Krieger asks that the dvam shablev doesn't help is only when it's not nuchach, something where it's dvam shablev viva kol adam. Sometimes if you do something where it's muchach to everyone while you're doing it, that's not called dvam shablev because it's nisgala yadas. It's nisgala yadas. So, anytime there's an umdra, we know what you want. We don't need you to tell us. It's quite clear from the situation. We know what your das is. The halach is you have to. The halach is that it's good. So, Mela, factor b'kiveger. So, where do you see from Shtika B'Yom Shammai that hakama believe helps? That hakama believe normally helps. Over here, you have a. Over here you have the fact that he went through Yom Shammai and he wasn't made for it, so we know he was Mekayim it because he went through a whole day. As much as we understand that if someone goes through a whole day and not talking is not a silence, it's screaming loud, I want another, by being shticky, you're saying I want another, so of course it's not Dvarim Shabalev. It's so what's the right Dvarim Shabalev helps. So that's I'm not going to answer Keg. It's a politic gezach. I mean, I don't know if Keg is Meshubit, but that brings down, and it's really Taran before that there's two dinim of Dvarim Shabalev. There's one din Dvarim Shabalev. It's not even Dvarim Shabalev. We'll see in a second. It's not even Dvarim Shabalev that did. There's one din Dvarim Shabalev that let's say I sold you a field, and afterwards I say I only did it because I wanted to go to Eretz Yisrael. I wanted to get rid of my field, my house. But I couldn't go to Eretz Yisrael, or whatever, it didn't work out. So, you sell it in the lave. So, we don't count that as das. We don't count that as das because it's Ram Shabbalei. State, a das that's Megullah, a das that's revealed, you do count as das. But then there's another halacha. Kinyanim and Kedush, everything, they can't be chal without a dibur. It's not Ram Shabbalei, but there's a halacha that to be chal has to be chal dafka with a dibur, with a maisa. But using a lave to be mechel it can't work. There's no such thing as using a lave to be mechel. So there's one. So by the case, let's say you have a daita meretz Yisrael, you're not creating anything. You want to say that you did the maisa of it today. You say, listen, I sold you a field. Afterwards, I come back and say, give me back the field because I only did it. Go to Eretz Yisrael. What do you mean when you said I only did to go to Eretz Yisrael? It means that you had a try. Fine. So the only halacha that's negated to that is the halacha that you don't count das that's believe. If them about is halacha, if it's the skala believe believe kol adam, so if that's the case, so if it's the believe kol adam, so if that's the case, so if it's the believe kol adam, so that's the case, so then about it's good. But Eifrin, we were talking about, but if there's another issue of Dvarim Shabalev that you have to, that chaloisim have to be ayidei dibur. It's not a Dvarim Dekalev, it's more like a chalois dekavona. There's ways how you make it chal. You can't do it with Dvarim Shabalev just make it be chal. Hektish there's a pasuk, hektish chal b'machshava. But without having a fresh pasuk, there's no such thing as b'machshava something is chal. So b'zai, the Ran is maybe he's bringing a raya. You would think hakama, we just said before, it's kei nidra, it's chal in the actual neder itself. So if it's kei nidra, so if that's the case, besides the Dvarim Shabalev, we don't know what you want, there's Dvarim Shabalev that you can't be chal anything if you don't talk it out, unless there's a perish pasuk. You have to. There's a way how things work. There's a way how things work. You only like the dibur it works. So Mela, so the Ran has a good right because v'shtikim yom shamay avada we know what he wants, but that's not enough to make a chalus. To make a chalus, you need dibur. You need dibur to make a chalus. So Mela, if that's the case, so then the Ran has a very good right. Avada Craig is right. It's das that's nisgala. But that you find das and skala helps, even though there's no dibur, when you're not talking about al yedei that you should be making something. By tonight, again, I said I'm going to go to Eretz Yisrael, and I say afterwards, I meant the tonight of you should be sold someone to fill. After you say no, I did it because I had a tonight. I only did it because I wanted to go to Eretz Yisrael. I've had it in such a case. The whole issue is just do we count this das or not? You count. Okay, it's mavur. You count as das. But when we're dealing with it, that's fine. But when we're dealing with the issue, it's not even drum shabbat that a chalos has to come al yedei. A chalos has to come al yedei dibur. So shtik b'yom shomai, there was no dibur. That's what the whole word shtik b'yom shomai. So the Ran is bringing a raya from that. That by you don't need dibur to be meichel. That's what the Ran is bringing from. So I don't mean to answer Rebbe's kasha, but Rebbe was sorry in Gadol. I have a sorry in Gadol on Rebbe Kivega, but actually we'll have an eitzah for it. The Rambam does all like this. The Gemara has a shiloh before. Can you make hakama v'afara together? The Gemara says that if someone makes hakama and afara together, the Gemara says. No, it is a teretz, but I don't come to Rebbe Kivega Sarchi and Gadol. By me, it's Sarchi and Gadol how to learn Rebbe Kivega. That's what I mean. The Gemara has a shaila if someone makes hakama v'afar v'vasachas is what happens? In other words, you made hakama, you made afar, which is contradictory things. So the Gemara has a shaila what is. So the Gemara says the Moshe also a klal that kol she'ena b'zeh chazev v'achas achas nami lo havi, which means that something that can be chal after the other. So if that's the case, huadin, it can't be chal together. Much like this. If something is an oila, you can't make it a shlomin afterwards. So the same way, if you make an oila first, then you say shlomin, it doesn't count because kol is there achas nami lo havi. Huadin by the huadin, when it goes together, it's not going to be chal. In other words, it doesn't make a difference if it's after each other or at the same time. An oila prevents a shloma from being chal. A shloma prevents an oila from being chal. That's the call. So Mela the Gemara holds hakama v'afara is each one is a contradiction to the other. After afara you can make hakama. After hakama you can make afara. So if that's the case, that's the Gemara's answering. That's what the Gemara is answering. The Rambam paskins on this halacha. The Rambam paskins that it's the hakama is chal and the afara is not. That's how the Rambam paskins. The Rambam paskins that when someone says he wants to make hakama and afara together, the Rambam says hakama is chal and the afara is not chal.
Is it automatic? It's automatic. Doesn't matter if he says hafara first.
Oh no, there's no difference which word you said first.
No difference. You're not typing lashon.
No. It's no difference. Forget. He told you. He said a word basachas. He said it straight out. As I say, listen, I'm selling you a field for 1 to 12 months, and or English from here. He said I want it to be chal together. So it's not a net gay tough shloshvish and ashachren. It's not what says first. When you say first and male it's chal, but you say. But if someone says I want it to be chal together, what?
Is that the lashon around?
Yeah. If someone says hafari v'chil lichi v'asachas, the halach is that Dr. Rambam is chal. One of the exact lashon. What? Okay, fine. No, fine. Here it is. Okay, so that's what the Rama holds. So, Frektaran.
So which one is Chal?
The Hakam is Chal, the Afar is not Chal. So how the Rama students with the Gemara, that I'm not going to go into that. What is the Shiur is, but the Rama Paskins, Kol Shein Zechazeh, Vasachas Namalav. That Rama Paskins that the halacha that something that can be Chal one after the other can be Chal together. So if that's the case, beside the Rambam itself, what's the pshat? What does the Rambam? Why does the Rambam say that Hakam is Chal, Afar is not Chal? Beside the Rambam itself, the halacha should be that neither one should be Chal because it's you did it Vasachas and there's a Chal close Shein B'Zechazeh Vasachas Nami Lo Yavi. So why? So Frektaran.
Even if Vasachas Havi, it's not the same case. In the case of two being ties to Achiyos, theoretically they both could have kedushin. Here, they're steers to each other. You can't have a common each other because they contradict each other. Even if you say Kol you still couldn't have it because they contradict each other.
Oil and Shlam contradict each other. But there's Kol Shein B'Zeh. So there's Kol Shein B'Zeh also.
I think then the I was Chal, the first one was Chal, but not or here and here.
It's not the first one. He's saying the first Vasachas.
But they don't necessarily contradict. It could have a din of Ayu and din of Shlomim. You could have a din of both, but you can't have a Kama Afara because they contradict. One says that it's Chal, one says not Chal. If I have Kol B'Vachas and Havi, you still can't have it.
The lashon that he did was he said. I found it. That's what he said. Kim umuflchi v'asachas. So there's no question of Rishon chain.
But even I'm just saying, even if you said Agudah is that Havi, even if that could be.
No, but
you couldn't have it.
Oh, you want to say? Oh, you're asking the other way. Okay, fine.
I'm saying that even if you said Havi, you wouldn't even need that.
Okay, fine. But let's deal with the steer in the Rambam. The Rambam says Kol Shein B'Zechazeh is not Chal. So the Kara Kaman Afara is not Chal. So why is the Rambam hold it's Chal? So the Rasamech is Matzia. He says there's halacha. We just said it before that Hakama B'Leiv helps. The Rambam brings right from Shtika B'Yon Shammai that Hakama B'Leiv helps, but Afar B'Leiv doesn't help. It's only Hakama B'Leiv that helps. So Reb Chaim explains that the Tzayif in Kol Shein B'Zechazeh B'Achastam L'Havi is if one thing prevents the other thing from being Chal. So of that, the halacha is that you don't gain by doing it together because the same way it prevents if it comes afterwards. When it's together, also prevents it. So he says, Hakama is Chal, it prevents the Afar from being Chal. He says, Afar is not the Pshat it prevents, it's not that in Afar it prevents and that being Chal. There's no nether anymore for him to Mekayim. It's there's nothing there. There's nothing there. That's all it is. It's not. I'll bring you a right to that. Hafara itself, the whole of Hafara is not you couldn't make Hakama. Hafara is that she will be able to. She made a nether. She's not going to eat from something. So Hafara is that she'll be able to go eat. It's not. That's not the whole din of Hafara. Hakama. What's the side of Hakama? To make it, you can't be made for. That is the din of Hakama that you can't be made for. Masha enkein masha. One second. Yeah, 1 second. I'm sorry, going back. I'm sorry, I don't know what I said that. I'm sorry. The Sameach says that Hakama B'Leiv so helps, Afar B'Leiv doesn't help. So Melo, Dr. Sameach has a pashta eitz in the Gemara. Avada, when someone says Kim L'chim Ufli B'Vasachas, the halacha is Avada. It's no good mitzad that you spoke at Hakam, you spoke at Afar. But Dr. Sameach, but you're still left with the Leiv. So when he says Kimchi V'Lichim Vasacha, so good, the two divers are no good, but you're left with the Leiv. So, and a Koma B'Leiv helps, and Afar B'Leiv doesn't help, so that's a chap, how you would be chal. Which is, apparently you have to understand that, because Yisoidim Kol Shein B'Zechazeh V'Aksami means that the two things are exterior to each other. So, it's not a daf geworden divur. The same way that Koma B'Peh is Soiser Koma B'Peh, same way that Koma B'Peh is Soiser Afar B'Peh, What didn't that come with Pesach for believe? It's not like 2 against 1. They're a stereo to each other. So the same stereo that you have, with if a guy would say he has in mind, that Kama should be chal at the same time as the Afara, it's not good. So here, there are two. I mean, not two. There's two. Let's say there's 2 ways how to come to that Kama. But the bottom line is both of these 2 ways, they Afara, you won't be able to do it. So that's not. Is sure what the eight is.
Because you don't use dibur, you just use machshava.
Right.
The dibur is mevatel each other.
But it's not about dibur bring. Well, it's not a dibur mevatel. What is that come out for? Don't let each other chal. It's not so much the dibur. It's not the way you do it. It's that the actual come for can exist together, or they stop each other from being chal. So what's chilk if it came out they dibur or came out they lev? Maybe that's you have to learn something like that. But pashtus that's. It's not about dibur that like you said shtusim because now it's a call change that because I'm not going happy is saying it's a mistake. We're not talking about the way you made it is no good. If hektish is chal machshava, so if a guy has in mind oil and shalom machshava, but it won't be chal because kol shem zeh that chal not going happy. That says because anything which is seiser or stops from being chal one to the other, so it together it can help. So the same way so when the guy makes a kama, he won't be able to make a far believe. So when he says hakoma and he's mefer, and he's also making believe. I'm saying when he makes a far, he can make a kama. He makes a kama and a far, and he's making believe the same hafar that says that kama bepeh. Who didn't it says the what's called? Who didn't it says the what's called the kama believe. That's what Reb Chaim says.
So that's not a teretz then?
No. So he says like this: the klal of kol shem zeh b'achzav nohavi is, and I'm preparing you for the teretz. Kol shem zeh b'achzav nohavi, he said, means that let's say one thing is ma'akev, another thing from being chal. Let's say shlomim is ma'akev. Shlomim doesn't let. Shlomim doesn't. When you make a shlomim doesn't let an oil be chal. He says in Akoma, the halacha of Akoma is that it shouldn't be chal dafar. That's the only thing is the gay Akoma. So that is what it. Hakama is there to tell you not to be mefer. That's what Hakama is. So Afara, that you can't be making is not because Afara tells you can't be making. It's much it comes out like that. The side of Afara is that you should be able to go eat, that you should be made for the nether. It comes out once you're made for, there's nothing to be making anymore. There's no nether anymore. But not that the halach is that it's not Afara b'yisoy b'satzma is not a steer to Hakama, just it bashar hechetim. So once you're made for, there's no nether. If the halach would be when you're made for, there's still a nether, you wouldn't be able to be making. If the halach so besides, he says so. But like that Hafara can't be chal is based on the fact that in Hakama is an equal on Hafara. Ma'ashe'enkein that so Mela, if that's the case, kol shem that means the same way there's an equal. One that if at Hafara comes if that Hakama doesn't let it be chal, it prevents it. Who didn't prevent it when it's chal v'asachas? Hafara doesn't prevent it from being chal. Hafara is just if the Hafara is no nether anymore. That's what and the tachas Hafara is also not the make that she can make a couple. The Hafara is to break the nether itself. I was like, but there's nothing left to be making. So if that's the case, so when you do vasachas, there's the why now it's vasachas. Right now, the nether is here when you're making the hakama. So you have a case where the nether will still be here and the still Hafara will be good. They'll be good. The hakama. Hafara won't be good because hakama. The whole din of Hakama is to stop the Hafara from Yichal. That's what it is. The Hakama is, it says in Hakama, you can't be making anymore. That's the side of Hakama. There's nothing else what Hakama is for. So Mela, so there's the Meniyah from Hakama not to let Hafara be Chal. So if that's the case, the same Meniyah that you have, Hafara for Hakama, I'll call Shem Zeb, Hakama, it's not going to have who adin, you have that Meniyah of Vasachas. Pashenk and Hafara to Hakama is not a Meniyah. It's not like the Hafara is ma'akev that nether. The Hafara has nothing to do with that. Just after Hafara, there's a separation, a falteration them, is that there's no nether anymore. No nether, so what are you coming to be making? But when you do Vasachas, there is a nether. This is what this.
How's the Rambam? What does he say?
No, so no, this John the Rambam.
How can we make them?
What?
How can, he says you can be making them.
Right, because Hafara is not a steamer to Hakama.
It's not a steer,
So maybe Hafara is not going to.
Yeah, but how how is he kind the pet? Nothing.
No, but yeah, no, I'm not going to Samech now. I'm not doing it right. Right, so he says Kimo for look. So when you do Vasachas, so we have to see why each one Zechazah doesn't work. If it doesn't work, Zechazah would be based on the fact that one thing stops the other. So rather, it stops with Zechazah, it stops with Vasachas. But if the reason why you don't do it is because there's not because it stops it. There's nothing left to be kind of like a stick thing, a timsa. So if that's the case,
so to make it be made for nether before without being made. You can't be made for.
Right, no. Once the side of Afar is to let it go eat. She made it a nether based on certain food, on meat. She's not going to
make a nether without a nether. To be made for a nether without a nether.
No, the Afar is to break the nether.
Is that what it's like? We make them together with Afar is like being made for a nether without a nether.
No, it's not like it's not like that. It's not being made for that.
You're ignoring
what?
the Afar. You're ignoring
right.
Because it's already made
no.
whatever reason.
I would say differently because it's you don't. If the Afar, it's not the Afar that's stopping it. It's the result of the Afar that there's no nether left. That's what you're looking at. So if there's no, when you put it together, there is a nether here. So the Afar will be chal because the Afar is not preventing it. There is a nether, and Afar won't be chal because there's a halacha of a common state you can't be made for. So the chazonish is
Afar doesn't contradict Hakama, but Hakama contradicts Afar.
right. Afar is just circumstantially after you're made for there's no nether anymore. So that's why you can't be making. So when you do vasachas, there's no circumstantial anymore. What?
Being made for another does not exist anymore.
You're being making a nether that's still here.
The matter doesn't exist,
So
so then you don't need to make it.
the Chazayin Ish asks on Reb Chaim, he says,
So he said you make it already and then there's no outcome. There's no net if you make it. Why do you say it that way?
I don't know.
Why do you say it the other way around?
the Chazayin Ish asks the Kasha Reb Chaim that he doesn't understand. He said he has a whole different avona in what the vol is, why Hakam is ma'akav afar. If the Hakam you can't make afar, and if the afar you can't make Hakam. He says the Torah gave a Baal a schus to machriya on the nether, either to make the nether that it stays, or to break the nether that it's not here. In other words, he has a choice. He could keep it l'olam or break it l'olam. So the Torah only gave him either koyach. One time the Torah gave that koyach. The pshat you have a koyach either to make the nether or to break the nether. So you can't have both. So if that's the case,
You didn't do anything.
what?
So that's the case, you didn't do anything.
You didn't do anything. The Shiur,
Time is saying that doesn't work that way.
no, right. Right. It's not come. The Shiur is that that's what the Kohen says, but it's a pella because the Yishalmi has a tzad that after Hakama you can't even be matin neder. That's what the Yishalmi says. After Hakama you can't be matin neder. So obviously that Hakama can't be made for neder is not because the Torah gave you one schus. Het and Adarm, first of all, she makes matin neder, not at him. And there's no. It's only Hakama and Afar that's the Baal's din. He makes or breaks. That you have halacha that it's one or the other, but that wouldn't be shaykh by a Torah Adarm if a Baal. If the Baal, he has one choice or the other. First of all, she's the one that's matin neder, not him. And second of all, so even if he has one schus, it's her. Second of all, there's no one schus when it comes to Torah Adarm. So obviously, it has to do with the Hakama itself. Same way Hakama itself prevents you from making a Torah. Yisham Yerasad Hakama prevents you from making Hatorah. That's what the Yishalmi says.
And Mashenkin Hatorah, that you're not learning like that. Hatorah is
Anyone can make Hatorah.
yeah, anyone can make it. So what?
What?
What does that have to do with anyone?
No. So if that's the case, because I'm just saying that the Torah gave it about a koyach. So you used it up. But that's only the koyach that we gave him was a kama or a farah. But that's the schus of a baal or an ov. Tahar Zadarm is a kol Torah Ligadim. Someone makes a nether, they can be matter nether. It doesn't. The Torah give you one. It's two separate things. A farah kama is a package we give the ov. You take a choice. You want to make it or break it. That's what Zayin says. Tahar Zadarm is nothing. You can't say either you make him the neder, or you're matter neder. What does one thing have to do with the next? In the schus and Torah given a kama farz, you should see the one or the other. But
and where do you see that like Havei HaTorah?
no, the Yushalmi has a tzad that akama prevents. If you make akama, you can't be matter neder either. That Yushalmi has a tzad. Yushalmi has a tzad. And also, she's the one that's matter neder, not him. It's her that she's matter neder, not him. So if that's the case, it doesn't pass this. So obviously, l'chayra, what? It's only one koyach. He says, that's what he says. He says, I don't know what he holds around the Rambam like the Yushalmi. It's only tzad in the Yushalmi. He learns around him is that. Oh, what? He answers on the Rambam? He says something. Yeah, I don't have time for that. He says in the back how he learns. So what's that pshat that's in Yushalmi itself? What's the extra pshat in the Yushalmi itself? What does it mean when you make a kama? You can't be mater neder. I mean, it's not. It's a kama is made for a Torah. It's not made for a Torah.
It has nothing to do with because mater neder means you made it. It was never done in the first place. It's a mistake. It's some kind of mistake. So
yeah, but it has to be around. If you eat up the piece, you can't do it anymore. It has to be around the neder still. If so, the halach is if someone makes a neder and is over it, you can't be matir. And you eat it up.
You can.
Before you can.
If you can. If we have a neder, still we matir. Of course you can.
No, if the piece is not there, let's say you matir this piece of meat. No, but anyways, it starts with something. It's not a mekach toys. The way we do is we give a pesach like that, but it's halacha. It's a kelim reichel. It's a halacha in the Torah. You can be matir neder. It has in the first round in the sechta. It's not real, I'm afraid. Mikal nabal, I'm afraid, but I'm not getting involved in that. But Torah doesn't mean like a. And the guy says, "Oh, it's a daita makes like Israel." I suppose it's a mekach toys. That's not what it is. It's not. We use that a little bit to find the pesach, but Torah says you have to go to a chacham. It's a halacha. You're like lo yachel. The Gemara says okay, meichel.
It's not an Indian boy. It's not an Indian father.
Right.
Not all that, but it's something like that. That idea is in it.
Okay, but if there's no neder around, okay. It's possible. Let's say she's meifir, okay, and let's say you hold a far plaksa kama. It's not true. After she's meifir, could she make hatar sedarim? No.
I think so.
No, there's nothing here anymore to do it.
Because hatar makes it.
Avada, but you have to start based on the neder. There's nothing. What you're doing is you matter this neder. The fact that you say it's a maktos. You're not. It's a bit.
I don't know that halacha. Is that a halacha?
Okay.
No. I was saying that.
But it's a bit. When a guy always makes a mekach, it's not a bittul from the mekach. It is obviously.
But is that? I'm just asking. Is that a halacha that you're really saying, or is that? It's a by far for sure. There's a halacha like that. Let me just start getting late. Once I think I'll talk to you after. So what's the pshat in the Rambam? What's the pshat in the Yushalmi? There's no hakam is not personally tailored for Torah. So you have to say it's a different word. The word is that, like we said was before, that hakama, where you said why you could make sheila on hakama and not on hafaras, because hakama is mechazik the neder. It strengthens the neder. So a neder that's strong, you can't be matir and you can't be mefer. That's what hakama does. So Mamela, if that's the case, if it's strong, Talmud said somebody it's strong enough to make somebody is strong enough to make hakama. Who did if somebody it's strong, if it's somebody it's strong that you can't make afara, who did you can't make afara. Problem in the Rambam, you can't say this because if you're saying it's chal neder to neder mechuzik, so that way you can't be make for after hakama. Is that same reason why you can't be making after Afara. Plus, it became a stronger nether. It's not if Afara itself says that you can't be making. That's a Afara, and then you'll have to say a bodic chiddush that Afara says you can't be making and you can't be mechel and you can't be matin nether, which is a chiddush. Which really you have to say, but you can't say like the Rambam. You can't say like the word is that the nether is mechuzik, and now varaya it's now you can't be mefer and you can't be matir. So. The same way, after Afar, the reason why you can't be mefer, after you can't be make, is there's no nether around, and then we say so. If that's the case, when you're doing it, there is a nether around.
The reason why you can't make hafara after hakama is not because something was chal or so, but it's a strong. It's that nether is not around. It's too strong this nether to make hafara on. So if that's the case, so why would you if that's the case, so why would then that whole word that hakama stops the fire you're not going to have because it's no chayr. It's the chiddush that said in hakama it says you can't be mater neder. That's a tremendous chiddush. So you could say in hakama there's no hafara, as we said, like I've kind of said before. Pashtus, the way to explain why you can't be mater neder is because since it became a stronger neder. So if that's the case, so it's strong. A strong nether is not a regular nether. It's a stronger nether. So it's too strong to be. You're very strong to mat. It's too strong to break.
Mat has nothing to do with strength. Mat is that she never meant it.
I know, but it starts with your mat and you break the nether. It's mikal haval. It's not mamish mat. It's the other round. It's maybe it's mikal haval. I'm afraid it's not like kill would never happen. About it right now we don't done it anymore from before, but it's. There's a tzad maybe you can make the forces whatever. About it, we'll deem that and negate to that time still be kind maybe. Okay, it's a complicated thing that, but neither Torah's dorm is not like a way some mistake, so it never happened. You're breaking it like that. It says that's it's a pasuk. Someone else is doing it. If the Mekach toys, no one's doing it. It's a toys. Means that someone else is doing it. Right, you have to explain where the toys comes into how it works. But the bottom line is he's being meichel. You can't be meichel another, but a chacham can be meichel another. So the same way a nether can't be a nether that's a chazik can't be mukum, or the chazik you can't say achayim meichel. So again, so if that's the case, so then it's also only a shayla for nechatimsa. It's only a shayla for nechatimsa. So it's only a shayla for nechatimsa. So if that's the case, it is right. I mean, same way we said the reason why it can't be making after afar is because there's no nether anymore. That you can't be making after hakama is because you have a stronger nether. Varaya, you can't be mater nether either. So it's not like it says in the hakama you can't be making. The circumstance is that such a strong nether you can't be making. So what's the difference if the reason why you can't be making because circumstantially there's no nether that you made a fire on? The reason why you can't be making is because circumstantially also you don't have that nether to be made for. It's too strong to be made for. So in the Rambam you can't say it like that. So what chay can you say in the Rambam itself? So you could say like this. So Betzem, there's a makom to learn the Yishami totally different. And it's really later that maybe Yishami doesn't mean that hakama is mavatal afara. But once the father made hakama, he's also involved in nether. So who's she to be mata nether now? Hakama makes that he takes a little bit control of the nether also. He becomes a bailam on the nether. So if that's the case, so she can't be mata nether. It's like a totally different question. It has nothing to do with the hakama afar. The halach of hakama you can't be made for. Once you make, if he's making, he has an input in the nether itself. If he has an input in the nether itself, so if that's the case, so it's killer. He's a bailam to a certain extent. If he's a bailam to a certain extent, if that's the case, so that's why you can't be made for. But not because that comma says you can't be. It's a totally different halacha. I can't be mata. You're nether. As much as the baal I'm cooking in the nether because he made it some type of house, I can be mata. You're nether. So let's go back to the Gemara itself. The Ran learned up the Yisrael and Shalom al Hakim. Okay, that's what it is. The Ram learned up, but the Rambam again. It's not to say there's a chizuk on that. There's a shvar zachus. It's a direct din. Hakama says you can't be made for. That is al kavon like Reb Chaim. That is the hakam. It's not nothing that falls out from it. You say din that it can't be. It's like this. Well, let's go back to the Gemara and Shalom al Hakim. The Gemara clear the Shaila. If the Gemara comes out, you mashal hakim nala afara. So the Ran says it's ke'ein nidra. So we explain what does ke'ein nidra mean. We explain Kain Nidra means is that V'ba'al it's chal in the etzem neder, then it becomes mechuzik. So it's part of the neder now. So that's what you can be matir the hakama itself. The Baal being knocker his part. That's what we're talking about. But it's not a problem beside the afara. It's just because the hakama is mechazik the neder. That's the hakama is mechazik the neder. So it's like you have a neder here. But that's all good. Like if you learn not like the Rambam, but if you learn like the Rambam, the hakama doesn't make the neder stronger. The din of hakama is that you can't be mefer. If that's what din of hakama is so who says you have the mile of Kain Nidra? No, it's Kain Nidra normal means there's 20 ways how to say it, but Pashas I'm going Kain Nidra is that it's Ralas Chal in the nether. It's like a shtickle nether over here. But that's all because it makes the nether more nether. It makes it stronger. Masha'enkein, the Rambam holds if that would be the case, it makes it stronger. Then it's also circumstantial. The Rambam says in hakama, the whole halacha hakama is that you can't be mefer. That's the din that when you mefer that in the hakama you can't be mefer. So if that's the case. So what's the more shaila if you could be? Why the more saying you can make him alafar and you can't be make him alafar? Teretz says the Rambam instead of saying the Rambam because hakam is so great, like the Rambam hafar is nothing. When you make hafar, two things. First of all, nothing's here anymore. So if that's the case, there's nothing to be shail on. And ba'oid hafar is nothing. It's not a chal. It just breaks. That's all it does. It's not like an existing thing to break. It just breaks. That's all it does. So kumtais, it's a fire just breaks. So if that's the case, there's nothing chal to make a shayla. First of all, there's nothing here anymore left. It's not like the nether's left here with afar. It's no nether, no. So what? There's no afar left anymore either. But even b'shaita, I don't know if the afar is a thing you could be gimatir nether on because afar is not a chal. You break. It's all you break the nether. So. You have to be matter neder, not matter something which breaks a neder. It's not. That's not Kain Nidra. So kumtais later on, the aside of why you're saying the shalom al is because the neder is a mechuzik dik neder. Is mechuzik dik neder. So mele it's chal in the etzem hakama itself. So it's like a neder. Hafar later on maybe is also chal, but it's not. We can't say it's like a hakama where it goes into the neder itself. Because Afar goes against the nether. So the reason why you can be Mitchell on Hakama and not Afar like the Rambam is because make him like the Ran. Hakama Afar is because there's an advantage to the Hakama. The Chal Hakama comes part of the nether. The Ran is not dealing with Afar. There's nothing wrong with Afar, but to mat the nether you have to mat the nedarim. Kachin is only nedarim. So if Hakama is Chal in the nether itself, it's mechuzik to the nether. So that's what that's called. You're being matir part of the nether. You're taking off the chizuk nether. Ma'afkain afar is you can't. It's not part of the nether. It's the opposite of the nether. It can't be. But that's all like the Ram. Like the Ram, I'm going to have to learn the shaila of fun. That we say you can make him. You can make him on that you said you could be make him on hakama, and you can make an afara that. That's like the Ram. Like the Ram, what are you going to say? So he said, like the Ram is going to learn the Gemara. It's not so much that a comma is something like it's chal and whatever. Let's say Mitzaratzma is the chal you could be making. That's also enough. The same kotchim could be making maybe a comma. Kain Nidra doesn't mean it's chal and the Kain Nidra would mean that it's just anything which I have to do in a door. Maybe you could be matter. You could be mefer. Just the Ram holds that afar is nothing. Afar is not afar is forget. If you make afar, there's nothing there anymore. That's why you can't be make him. So then you can make him, so you can't be matter. So kumtais, it could be it's around the Rambam Shitosum, because the Ran, I call the Ran again. We're saying the Ran holds that Kain Nidra means it's a chizik neder, and the Rambam is saying it's not because it's chizik neder, it's because the hafara is not there. Like the Ran. Maybe it's a starkest far out there, but Ran's not basing it on that. Later on, maybe far is there. The word is that you machazik the net. And later on, it's nothing to do with there's nothing to do with what that hakama is. The point is that the far is not there anymore. So that's what they hold. So in the Gemara before Chaim is answering the Ran's kasha. The Ran's kasha was on the Rambam that Kol Shein B'Zev L'Achzav Ne'Ohavi. So Chaim said there's a difference of hakama to afara. Then from afar to hakama because hakama is directly said not to be mefer, and we said Mele Ram will serve as that. But if we tiny it, if you learn that you're machazik the nether, if you're machazik it, so then it's again circumstantial. So then there's no difference like Kol and Afar. It's not that. It's not a steer. It's not more of a steer that when a nether is too strong you can't be made for it. That when a nether is not here you can't be making. So the Ran, well, how did the Ran learn? So what's that come? It's a chizuk nether. So the same is a machlokes by Kol Shein Chazer that the Ran holds. It's just a chizuk nether. So there's no difference to how Akam and Afar works. Afar works, Pashut, it's no nether anymore. So what can't you make it? Akam makes it that's too strong, so you can't be making. So too strong like making that's what Ram learns. And Ram holds no, it's a totally different thing. Hakam says you can't be making. Afar doesn't say. Afar just breaks the nether. So later on is very good. Later on it comes out that Hakama is. Later on you could say that Hakama is to be chazik the nether, and that's why he learns Kein Nidra by Shayla. And that's why it's called Shein B'Chazer, because it's just like Afar. And the Rambam who holds that no, Akama breaks is directly to break. So obviously, Afar is a seer to Akama, Afar is not a seer to Akama. So if that's the case, he will learn this Gemara different. Let's just go back to Rabbi Kivega if we have a little time. If I go back to his time still. Oh. So like this, I want not answer. I want to answer what I want to make. What's Rabbi Kivega asking? Rabbi Kivega brought a raya from the. Like this, the Ran brings a raya from Shtika B'Yom Shammai. The Ran brings a raya that Vaischos you could be making believe, because if your own Shtika B'Yom is like Akam, if you wait a whole day and you're not made for it, that's a statement. Basically, what we hear from your silence is it's a loud silence. We hear from you that you want the nether to be kaim. So Mela, so Vaischos, so on Zaktaran, you Zaktaran. That's so you see you don't have you can come with to work. Greg asks once it's muchach what he holds, once it's muchach what he says, it's not dvarim shabalev anymore. It's not peh. That's what we get to, but it's dvarim believable kolodim. It's not dvarim shabalev in the sense that it's hidden for you. The word is we see straight into your das of it. It's das that's a skal. It's I can take my das and put it on a plate. This is my das. We see it, so it's not leiv, it's a leiv that's his gala. So the leiv that's his gala. But you said there's another halacha that there's certain ways where things work. There's certain ways where things work. Well, like kinyamin can only be al yedei dibur, the king and Maisa. It can only be maybe hefker. You still around by hefker. It says you can't do hefker b'leiv because you need dibur to make hefker. But it's not a question that das believe is not das, and maybe it can be mafkir. You have to look at a handbook and how it works. It works that you need diva to. So we ask. So if that's the case, why? There's another part of the Ran that we have a raya because it's muchach. That doesn't tell me that's not pshat is that it's a pet. So that's the Ran's raya. So like this, if you learn like the Ran alone. The Ran learns up the pshat is chal to mechazik the nether. That's what the Ran learns up. That din, that it's something to be chal only al yedei dibur is only when you make a new chalas. You make a shvan, you're being mechel a new thing. So the halacha to be mechel a new thing, you have to do dafka yedei dibur. Mashenkin here, even if it's chal, it's mechazik the nether. Let's chal to make a stronger nether. The aside of that you need dibur to be mechel is based on the fact that you to make yesh ma'ayin, to go make a chalos, you have to come on to you have to the new chalos you have to do idei diva. But akama, you're not making a new chalos like the Ran. What you're doing is you just like the all you're doing like the Ran is you're making a stronger nether. So even if it's chal, but it's not a separate chalos, that's why it's kein nidra. That's why you make it. It makes the nether stronger. Not everything was. It's only it's chal. It's not new. It's just. It's new in the sense that it's stronger, but it's not a yesh ma'ayin. It's not a whole new thing that wasn't there. And that is no halacha that you need dibur. There's a way you can dibur. Dibur, there's certain thing works. When you want to make a chalas, means you want to shana something, and then it's a whole different thing. You make so if that's the case. You need dibur. Shaking Hakama since it is chalas, but that din. That chalos needs a pet to be meichel. That's only when you have to make a new chalos. All you have to do is, if all you have to do is just just strengthen the old challah. So say so besides that there's no din that you can't do believe. So if that's the case, there's no din can believe. So cases. So what's left? The only thing that's left is that so the Ran didn't have to bring the Ran didn't have to explain why a kama believe works as hilchis kinyonim. Why? Because that's a pashut svara. I mean, not pashut, but the Ran held that making a kama, even it's kain nidra, making a kama is not a new chaos that needs a diba. The only other thing we have is the issues that who says the das believe is good. Das believe is, well, let's say the daitel makes your soul. Then you did it. It's not a chal, but you said I did it with it tonight. So we say doesn't count das believe. So Zaktaran, that's not a problem because Zaktaran to have a raya from here that vice the chais that you could das what's the get for come will work. You like certain times there's no problem doing Shabbalat. So that's the only issue we're dealing with is that Dom Shabbalat is not das. That's all we're dealing with over here. And that's not a problem. If everyone knows why you're doing it and what's being done, that's isgala. It's not leiv that's packed into the leiv. It's leiv that's isgala. A leiv that's isgala is doesn't have the problem that it's not das. The only other issue was how to make the chalas. We said that the way you make this one has nothing to do with how you make other things, and you don't need dibur for that. So Mela, Reb Craig is very good. So beside it was Mastak my tzarchi in Gadol and Reb Craig is tzarchi in Gadol, and Mastak tzarchi in Gadol Reb Craig is akasha. The Ramban brings down in the Agudah. The Ramban brings down in the Agudah to Shefer Shmois. He says like this. He says the Torah was Mashlim Bereshis, which is Sefer Yitzira. That's called Sefer Yitzira. And by Yikis Torah's Kainim, by Mizpchaim Pekudid, Dvarim Mishna Torah. So he says the whole Bereshis is Yitzira, whether it be that Yitzira means the fact that they made a world, or Yitzira that the others HaKadoshim were being mashrish for Klal Yisrael. Koiches and Midas, that's also Yitzira. So the whole Bereshis from beginning to end is a tzir. It's creating an hoga, it's creating a koyach. So the whole, from beginning to end, the whole Ma'aseh Avos is creating for the bonim, and what the Eibusha did is definitely a creation. So Mamela Zakter. So after that, he says the reason why you say it's called Sefer Agula. That's what it's called, and he says so. The Ramban just says that's why after that we bring Sefer we bring Gula because the whole tachlis of everything is for Gula. So Mela, that's where we bring to Gula. It's Ramban's mark. I just want to say this: that the Sefer brings that there are some Rishon that don't bring down Sefer Shmois or Sefer Gula. It's called Sefer Sheni. It's like the second Sefer Yitzira. There's it brings from two places that's it's not called Sefer Gula. It's called Sefer Sheni, which means Sefer Sheni means that it's that there's a Rishon of Yitzira and there's a Sheni of Yitzira. So there is a new Yitzira over here because we created Klal Yisrael, we made the Mishkan. There's also Yitzira in Shmois. But I have a look at Tzarchi over here. Namal, it has to be from beginning to end is like Yitzira or Mishnah Torah from beginning to end. By Midrash Pekudim, I don't want to get into it. I don't know what Pekudim means exactly. Torah's Kainim, the whole thing is Kainim from beginning to end. There are parts of Sefer Shmois that not do Yitzira. The Egel with the Kabbalah has nothing to do with Yitzira. What they created an union of destruction. What does that have to do with Yitzira? So like this, like this, when the Eibush gave tshuva in the world, and they say it's a chiddush because tshuva is oikel and afraid what you did. What is the chiddush? We just said Atar Saddam does the same thing. It's oikel and afraid. So what's the chiddush of tshuva? What's the chiddush of tshuva? The muslim being oikel and afraid. You have that in the Darim also, Atar Saddam also. So what part is the chiddush? It states that tshuva was created before the world. That's what it says, which is, what does that mean? So I think the pshat like this. The pshat is like this. let's say so a person has a scratch, right? So then the body by itself heals. That's what it does. The body by itself heals. There's no intervention. Body by itself heals. If the person, mamish, let's say, cuts, as Chashwan has a stab, the body's not going to heal that. So you need human intervention to go and tie it up. Avada, maybe you'll get back to what you were before, but it's not. You're doing intervention from the side. It's not part of the body that when you get such a big cut that it should be healed. It's a human intervention. So Mamela, you could say tshuva is also like that. The world was created that, it should be good. It's just, and you did, but tshuva, you're messing with the Averis, you're messing things up. That's what you're doing. Tshuva, so the Mela like this. So you could say this tshuva. The Torah says the Torah said you could make a surgeon will make an operation and you'll stitch it up. Torah says no. That's the etzem bria itself. In the bria it's not like, again, if you cut yourself and you heal. It's not like a new thing. That's nichal in the guf, that it heals itself when you cut yourself. It's part of the Yitzirus HaGuf. It's not like a dak that's itoisif. So tshuva itself is part of the Bria Olam. To the sense that means that when you do tshuva the same way, when you cut yourself, you heal, and that's part of the guf itself. It's not an intervention. Nothing's changing. Doing tshuva also nothing's changing by tshuva. That's the way the world was made. I was like, it's a big difference between Het Nedarim and Tshuva. Het Nedarim, again, is an intervention. What you're doing is you're being Oikel and Neder. Mashiach Tshuva is not an intervention. Tshuva, the pshat is that that's the way the world was created. So, it's a Shtaka Chizik Hadas. That means that when someone falls, whatever it is, you don't have to look at, I didn't do good, the Tshuva is, the pshat is that the same way when you get a cut and then it heals. It's not there anymore. It's not like, so by Tshuva, it's not there anymore. It's gone. It's gone that beside that you never messed up. Mashenkin heter darm, you can't say it never happened. It happened, and you were mateneder. So if that's the case, so that's also yitzir. That we're talking about the kapara of the egel and the where they had a kapara tshuva. So that musik, that tshuva is part of the etzem bria. That's also a yitzir. That how the bria was made. So maybe you could call that seif yitzir beis also. No, I